Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to anybody joining us. I'm Emily from Lunar Pumpkin. I am an astrologer, an intuitive tarot card reader, and moon mother. And I inspire people to manifest their dreams into reality using the divine timing of the lunar cycle. And all products and readings are all related to affirmations and generally there to inspire and uplift and bring more compassion to people's lives. So I have a lovely guest with me today. Hello, Candice.
Hi.
So let me introduce you properly. Let me find what we were saying. It would help if I had the right page. That's always good. Oh, we're the 13th today. That's better. No, we're not the 13th. We're the 6th. No, we're the 6th. We're the 6th. I just had the wrong 6th in front of me. I was thinking, this is very strange. Okay. Let's try again. So Candice has been a hairdresser for 26 years and has always loved listening to people's stories and understanding what makes them tick. A few years after losing her father around her Saturn return, the feelings of unrest and yearning for more started. My friend introduced Candice to Reiki back in 2013, which sparked the start of her spiritual journey. And since then, her world has opened up and she gained her certification in Reiki and crystal healing, which led her to astrology, her absolute passion. So, let's start off with your big three for anybody who does know a little bit of astrology or just wants to kind of feel into it. So, yeah, can you let me know your sun, moon, and rising and a little bit about how they kind of play out for you?
So my big three are the sun in Aries, the moon in Gemini, and the ascendant or the rising sign in Virgo. So sun in Aries, that's the core of who I am. So I like to get things going. I like to start things. I like to be busy all the time, and I'm quite energetic and fun. I'd say that's a good sort of description of an Aries. Moon in Gemini, that's tricky at times. It's a bit of a scatterbrain. I like talking, always learning, love sharing information and making those connections between people, and books and more books. And then my ascendant in Virgo is it's the only planet I have in Earth, so it does ground me. What did I write here? I'm conscientious, helpful, want to be of service, I'm practical, neat and tidy, and I'm a fuss pot. So that's you can't, yeah. Virgos are fussy, and yeah, got to put that in there. So that's my big three.
Methodical is another one I would go for with Virgo. Maybe.
Methodical. Yeah.
And do you find you have like load of lists and stuff, or is that more? I don't know.
Do you know what? It's only something that I've just started doing recently. I don't know why I haven't done it before, because there's always lots of stuff in my mind. But I asked for a planner for Christmas. And actually I was watching another astrologer and they got a moon in Virgo, so they write daily lists just in a notepad and then cross them off. So yeah, I've started to do that. So maybe it's an age thing, I don't know. But yeah, I find it's better when you can get things on paper. They're not jumbling all around in your brain, and then yeah, you become more methodical and just get things done. So yeah, I do. That was a long answer.
Right, let's have a little look at some things that I wanted to ask you. Okay, there was an experience that had obviously started off at your Saturn return of losing your father, and obviously when anybody loses someone close to them, or someone who could be shaping their lives in some way, it's going to be very tough. I'm quite interested to hear what the experience of your loss, but also let me look at what I wrote, because I'm just losing kind of my words a bit. Apologies. Oh yeah, it's putting perspective on what matters most to you, and that sort of ilk of things, isn't it? So then how did that kind of start off your journey?
Yeah, well, like I say, I lost my dad around my Saturn return. I was 29. And I didn't put the two things together, but I think losing my dad was probably the start of my spiritual journey. When you go through loss, when you realise, impermanence in life, and you sort of start to think about what truly matters. And, I love my job and I've been doing it a long time, but there's always been a feeling deep inside me that I want to do more. I want to connect with people more. So I think subconsciously, the two things, they go together, losing my dad and wanting to find more purpose in life. And also this feeling of doing the healing work perhaps that he couldn't. So he had his troubles and he died relatively young, early 60s. So yeah, I've always had that sense that I'm, by doing this deeper work, that I'm doing the healing, healing the family line that perhaps he couldn't do. So yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful, but it also, as you say, it kind of does wake us up to what matters, and there's nothing that you can do about the situation. Obviously, you're going to forever miss someone that you lose, and you'll probably think about them daily. But we lost my father-in-law quite young as well. He was 56, I believe. So yeah, I can relate to how it feels to be so unexpected, and it's
Yes.
it's tough.
Yeah. But it's he wasn't very well, and luckily I saw him a couple of days before he passed. And it's just funny how these little events happen, leading up to an event, and I feel very lucky that I got to see him just before he passed. And I've been quite accepting of it because like he had ill health. So I think it did bring me some peace knowing that he wasn't going to suffer anymore. So it's not easy when you lose somebody. But I feel grateful that, I think he passed quite peacefully. So that does help, rather than having a tragic passing. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I miss that he's not here now, to see what I'm doing, but I'm sure he is.
I would
He
say
crops
that
up in
probably
my
too.
mind, so I'm sure he's yeah, and I think he would be proud, and I hope he's proud of me. So but yeah, it was a sad time, but it was also an important catalyst, you know. Hi, Jasmina. We love to say.
Lovely to join us. Thank you. Yes. So okay, we looked at how it's like your catalyst for change, wasn't it? So tell me a little bit about how you found some of the spiritual tools that you found, such as Reiki, or yes, and what you've used that for with clients or in your own life.
Well, I got married in 2013, and one of my clients, she was a Reiki master, um, and she offered me a session. So I went along and had my first Reiki session and was just like, oh my God, this is like magic. It's like someone sprinkled magic fairy dust all over me. And I had all these sensations, and I could feel heat and tingling. And I was just blown away. And she kept encouraging me, saying, you know, you'd be really good at this, you're really intuitive. So it took me quite a long time to find the right teacher, but I found somebody local to me, and yeah, I did my first Reiki certificate in 2016. But yeah, it was just a big realization that there's more to life than what we can see. Um, you know, there's a whole energetic world out there. There's a whole world that speaks to us, that we can feel and we can sense, but we can't put it in a box. We can't label it. So yeah, again, that was another really important moment in my life to search for, well, go on a search, I guess. And I think Reiki just opened up my world, opened me up to meeting new people on the same wavelength, and it just made me want to be a better person, I think. Um, so, but it's been, I do it, and I do it with clients, and I think it's really good for people. But it was primarily for my own healing journey, first and foremost. Um, I also I also use crystals because my first teacher, she used a lot of crystals as well, and she said you seem to be sort of a natural at this. So I've always used crystals alongside the Reiki. Always been into crystals since I was a kid, really, and then got my crystal healing certificate in 2021. So the two are intertwined. They're not really separate.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't do one without the other, really. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know, I've sort of lost for words, really. But yeah, I don't think without that I would be where I am now, and I wouldn't have met who I've met now. So, you know, to anyone that's sort of thinking about doing Reiki or a crystal course, it opens you up. It opens you up to a better part of yourself, and it opens you up on a new path, and hopefully you find like-minded people and you meet your tribe.
Yes, definitely. I think it is quite powerful actually doing a lot of energy work. It doesn't matter necessarily what avenue you start, because everything seems so connected. And in a way, I find that astrology does incorporate or allow some of that to come through, because we work a lot with the elements. And of course, the elements are within us as well as within the earth and the world around us. So, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Oh, I'll just have a say hello to Mary, who's joined us, who said, lovely to see us
Hi,
both here. You manifested one person joining us, Candice. We got two.
Our little tribe. Hi.
Exactly. To anyone who doesn't know, I've met Candice through the London School of Astrology, and we met in person at an event that one of our teachers, Frank Clifford, was holding in London. So that was a pretty awesome event.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, with some very profound astrologers and speakers there. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. Right. So I think we kind of covered a little bit about the therapeutic links of energy work, but do you find that your hairdressing kind of links in a little bit with what you do with energy stuff, or is it completely separate?
No, it's because you could argue that hairdressers are kind of hand-on healers. You know, you're working on people's heads, which I think is one of the most powerful parts of the body. I'm an Aries, so I've got a connection with the head anyway. Yeah, you are in people's auras, you're really close to people, but you know, they've allowed you into your space. So I think it's any kind of therapist, hairdresser or beautician, or, you know, massage therapist. you're in people's auras and you've been given permission to be that close to them. So you do pick up on things, and they say hairdressers are free counsellors. So people tell us a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I think, I give off energy as well as receiving it from other people. So I think Reiki has made me a lot more mindful of what's going on energetically, what you're passing to somebody and what you're picking up on, and also creating a calming place to be in, because I'm now self-employed and work from home and go to people's houses, and I've noticed that people open up a lot more now. So yeah, it's taken me a while to realise, but we're so much more than hairdressers, because people open up to you and they tell you lots of things. So yeah, there's definitely a link. Yeah, definitely. Any vocation where you're working one-on-one with people closely, there's kind of healing going on there, isn't there? Or it's a therapeutic relationship. I think anyway. So yeah, definitely there's a link.
Yes, of course, we hold space for people in a similar way when giving astrology readings as well. Yeah, I think there are a lot of synchronicities and connections, and a lot of your things that you're doing in the path there that you're on at the moment, which sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also that another thing that I've realised is when you're in one-to-one contact with someone, it's very powerful. But also, I don't know how you found this, but if you're doing an astrology reading online, or connecting just with somebody online, you still pick up things about that person.
Yeah.
Because you're still having that energetic relationship, which, there is no distance between people, which is what you learn in Reiki. So, which is something I wasn't so sure about, but now I've put it into practice. Yeah, it's there. You have a relationship with somebody, no matter whether you're in person or, across the pond, but you will link in and tune into one another.
Yes. I mean, a lot of people that I tend to interview on my channel seem to be all around the world. So it's lovely to have someone else within the same country for a change.
Yeah.
Okay, we're closer than you might think.
And we've met in person, so that's a bonus.
And we met in person.
And hopefully we'll do again when we go to London.
Yeah. Yes, so Mary was just saying that she totally agrees with what you were saying. I gather that's to do with the Zoom energy as well as the in-person energy and everything else.
Thank you, Mary.
So, of course, let's talk crystals. So, do you have a favourite?
I did write some down. I could have too many to have a favourite. I would say that there's a few. I've kept it small. I think quartz is one of the most important crystals. It's used in everything. We can program it. It's my go-to. Yeah, you got quartz. It's just energizing and brings you clarity, and yeah, one of the most abundant minerals on earth, but I think one of the most important. Lapis lazuli,
Oh, that's a good piece. Oh,
which I think is really good for what we're doing now, talking. It's got pyrite in it as well, so your confidence. But I love anything to do with Egypt, and I feel there's a really strong link with lapis and Egyptians, and yeah, so I really love it for that. Labradorite, I think it's really. Oh yeah, yeah, we got I love the labs.
we
Always
both
reminds
have.
me of the Northern Lights, but that's always a
Yeah.
good one for spiritual stuff and psychic protection. Rutilated quartz. I don't know if I've got one here. Again, it's quartz, but it's got.
Quartz, is that?
Yeah, I use
black
this a
bits in
lot.
it.
Yeah, love it. One of my favourites. Ruby, just to give a bit of energy, and again, it's red Aries. I've always been a little bit scared of the red colour. I go through colour cycles, but I actually find it really empowering and energetic, and so I'm trying to use a bit more red in my life. Um, and I think Peter site. I haven't got a piece
Oh,
to hand. I
what's that
should have
one?
got a piece. Which is called the Tempest Stone as well. But if you want change in your life, then Petersite is a really good one to use,
Okay.
and Preonite. And I had two little pieces that I used together for ages. They were the only two that I used just for ages. So, but yeah, look up Petersite. That's a
Okay.
really good stone. If you want to promote change in your life, then look up the meaning and see if that resonates for you. So yeah, they're some of my favourites.
Oh, thanks. I find that something that really motivates me is I've got my large carnelian.
Yeah, carnelian's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, got lots of that.
Um, okay, so do you have things that you would recommend for stress relief and or sleep?
Yes, depending on what kind of stress, I've jotted a few. So, kyanite is the first one. Um, I think this is really good for reducing anger. So if you're really stressed out and you're feeling really angry, I find that kyanite just diffuses that anger straight away. Again, this is my experience, so take
Okay.
what resonates and leave what doesn't, but it is a
Yeah.
really gentle stone, and I think it's good for anger. Um, Blue lace agate, I'm wearing one now. Aquamarine or blue calcite, they're really good calming, soothing crystals. Um, for sleep, I would say howlite. A lot of people say amethyst, but if you're super sensitive, you might find that a little bit too much.
I
So
do. Yeah, I really do.
yeah, excuse me. When I first started getting into crystals, amethyst was really was really strong. So it's not something I would be drawn to for sleep initially. But howlite, selenite, you can buy the selenite lamps. They're really nice. Um, Anxiety, if that's the kind of stress you're experiencing, I would say, yeah, selenite's lovely. Lepidolite,
Yes, I use
um,
lepidolite for sleep.
yes. What's it got in it? I can't remember that.
I'm not sure, I'm afraid.
It's got some. It's medicinal. They use it in medicine as well for sort of anxiety. But lepidolite, smoky
Okay.
quartz. Oh, it's over there.
Oh,
Um, because I've got one just like
smoky
that.
quartz.
That really grounds you and slows you down.
Mm.
Again, it's from the quartz family, so I find that all right. I don't find it too powerful. And
Mm.
then the last recommendation is fluorite.
Oh,
Um,
I love fluoride.
because if you are anxious and you have a really busy mind, I
Mm.
find that fluorite is really good for helping you kind of get a bit more focus and just get things done. So if you are a mercurial type, Gemini, Virgo, or a bit stressy and anxious, and you need to study and stuff like that, fluorite is a good one. So
Mm.
there's some little
Yeah.
recommendations for stress and anxiety. And again, there's an exhaustive list, so
Of
that
course.
might not resonate with everybody, but there's certainly a few there that you can look up and get you started.
Mm. Um, is there any kind of technique or ritual or anything that you would suggest to people just starting out using crystals before they do anything with a crystal they're just buying or something? Or
Um, my biggest advice would be is to trust yourself, because there's so much information. You can go on the internet now, you can buy lots of books. But I would say think about what it is you want your crystal for. So let's say you're going to go to a crystal shop and you want to buy your first crystal. Before you go into the shop, set your intention of what you want help with. So I might be, I need a crystal to help me focus, for example, and just take a pause and then walk in and just see what jumps out at you and don't second guess it, because that will be the right one for you. Because there's so many. When you go into these shops, like, it's overwhelming. It's like going into a sweet store. By all means, all the ones that you like, but if you're looking one for a specific purpose, set that intention first. Trust your gut. Don't second guess it. It could be because you like the color, it could be because you like the texture of it, the form. It could be a sphere, it could be a tower, whatever. But that's the best way to get started. And then you can go online or get some books. You'll also find that you'll resonate with some authors and some you won't. So just go with what seems right to you, and just start to experiment and maybe get yourself a basic little kit of some of the well-known crystals, like some rose quartz or red jasper, and yeah, just start to experiment like that. But yeah, just trust yourself, and trust your body. It knows what it needs, and it will pick out the right one for you.
Yeah. Brilliant. What else do we want? Oh yes. Anything that you would suggest, particularly for like confidence, if somebody's feeling a bit like they want to be a bit more confident before, say, I don't know, a job interview, or I don't know, anything of that ilk?
Again, lapis, because I just think it's such a powerful stone, and I think because it's blue, so it resonates with the throat chakra. So if you are doing an interview, and your solar plexus is really where our power comes from. So the fact that it's got pyrite and it always combines the two. So I think that's a good one. Citrine's another really good one. This would be classed as heated amethyst, but you can get these, or you can get the really pale citrine.
Yeah, I've got a pale one.
So again, that's solar plexus, so that's your power center. Pyrite would be another good one. Rutilated quartz again, with probably gold rutiles in it. Hematite, because it's grounding and again gives you energy. You might be drawn to bloodstone or dragon blood. Jasper, red jasper. Yeah, that's bloodstone.
Yeah, that's
red jasper. Tangerine quartz, that's a really good one for sort of confidence, motivation, energy. Quartz again, I was going to say quartz. Ruby, and maybe some sunstone, if you want some happiness and positivity. And green aventurine, that's a good stone for luck and abundance, which is what our lovely Emily is wearing. But again, if you start to build up a little collection of crystals, literally the way I do it is I wake up in the morning and I think, right, what do I need today? And the first thing that pops in my head, that's the one that I use, unless I'm looking for something specific to work on long term. But yeah, there's a few recommendations.
We have a question from Mary as well. Can you see that, Candice?
Yes, would lapis work
for motivation?
Sorry, Carrie, you carry on.
Oh, sorry. Work for motivation issues as well, or is there a specific one?
If you're drawn to it, then I would say yes, because I find it's really empowering, with the pyrite as well. So it depends what you're lacking motivation for. So maybe firstly find out what do I need motivation for? Is it for writing? Is it for speaking? Is it for being creative? And then you can narrow it down a little bit more. But if you're liking the look of that or the sound of that and you're drawn to it, try it and see what happens. But motivation, generally speaking, is, yeah, like some of the ones we've just mentioned. Things, I would say, things in yellow, orange, or red colours. But again, it depends what you're lacking motivation in. So I hope that helps, Mary.
I wonder whether then some peach moonstone would kind of help in some way. Do you reckon? I don't know.
Again, it's a personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of the right colour. I find moonstone's really good if you've got a busy mind. So if you're kind of overrun with thoughts, it might help you to become more centered and more focused. And perhaps moonstone might help you get clear on your emotional needs and what you want. But yeah, it's a personal preference. So
Oh, okay. So Mary said the colour drew her in.
yeah, and it's like royal blue. So I think
Mm.
it's quite an empowering colour. Whereas, say like blue lace agate, it's very soft and gentle, but I think really strong colours like, let's think of emerald, ruby, lapis, those really strong colours, I find them quite empowering anyway. So yeah, give it a whirl, Mary, and see how you get on. Let us know.
Yeah, this is one of my favourites.
Is that
Is
Jasper?
it, yeah, it is a Jasper.
Yeah, Picasso Jasper. Well, they've got different names, haven't they? Some of them. Desert Jasper.
I think the other name for it might be, is it Mookai or is it Picture Jasper? I can't remember.
What is it?
It
Sort
is,
of green and red in colour?
it's
Because
kind of got
Mookai tends to be.
oh, maybe I think it is Picture Jasper then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Mookai tends to be more sort of mauvey and beige and reddy and
Oh,
yellow. Is that greeny?
yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. I've got a nice free form of that. I love the Jaspers. They're just really gentle to work with, and they come in so many different colours. So you could have um a Jasper for any occasion. But I just think they're really gentle. I've never found a Jasper that's too much or too overpowering. Um, I'm just reading Mary's question.
Yeah.
A busy mind, yeah. When I did my crystal course, one of the ladies, we experimented with crystal layouts, and I put a piece of moonstone on her forehead, and she said, "Oh my God, my racing mind just stopped." So try that, Mary. Try meditating with a little bit of moonstone, either rainbow moonstone or the normal moonstone, and put a piece on your third eye and lay down and just relax for a bit and see how you feel.
I think that's Rainbow Moonstone. I don't know whether we're going to get a shimmer, but
Yeah. Because I didn't realise as well that moon didn't start in astrology. Obviously, we think Mercury relates to the mind, but obviously the moon is the mind as well. So
yeah.
yeah, definitely a link between moonstone and the mind.
So can you tell us a little bit about some struggles and to success, shall we say, within either business or personal ones that you've encountered and kind of what they taught you?
Um, Sorry if you can hear my dog barking. My husband's
No, I
gone
didn't
out.
actually.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay.
He's distracting me. I can hear it.
Oh,
Struggles. Um, Trying to think now. I think we're always trying to succeed, really.
yeah.
I've been in business before, and it was hard. So I definitely find working for myself much better. Um, I find it hard working. I found it hard working in a business with lots of people, sort of navigating everybody's needs, being seen and heard. So, yeah, having a business is difficult, but so is being self-employed, but I much prefer it. Struggles, I don't know really. If you can think of anything specific, but I'm just trying to rack my brain. I think I'm one of those people that, no matter what I come across, you'll always find a way to overcome it. But I think now I have the most supportive people in my life who really truly see me and hear me. So I think no matter what I come across, they are there for me and they have been there for me. I lost my train of thought now. But yeah, I think presently I'm very lucky to be self-employed, have lovely clients, have lovely friends. But I'm trying to take a little bit of not a step back from things, but just slow down a little bit because we're all on this hamster wheel. So I'm just trying to sort of take a little bit of a slower pace and see what it is that I actually really want. And I guess what Reiki tells us is to just kind of slow down and be a little bit more present, and not get caught up in the mind. But yeah, that hasn't really answered your question, is it? Struggles to success.
I think that does. I think that does, actually. I think that does.
Trying not to keep striving for stuff and hoping that if I'm following my true path, which hopefully astrology is that, literally doors have opened. I've met so many new people. I'm getting invited to things, getting invited to go out, making new friends. So to me, I think it was Joseph Campbell that says, follow your bliss. If you're following your bliss and what lights you up, then hopefully you will be successful, whatever that means to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, does it? But happiness, contentment, that's my barometer. So yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know what I was going to ask you then. There was something that came up in what you were speaking about, and it's just gone.
Hopefully it'll pop back up again. I hate that when you get something really good and it disappears.
Yeah. Yes. But that is the thing, isn't it? That we do have challenges on a daily basis, but also what I was thinking, actually, it's just come back. We are in Taurus season anyway, and very much one of the reasons why I thought it would be perfect to talk about crystals at this time was because we're talking about the earth and what comes from the earth and the beauty of it, but also embodiment is very much a Taurian thing. So we're feeling into our body, using our senses, and finding out, well, what do we have and what do we want, and looking at that very Venusian qualities. As Venus is about love and abundance and our values. So we kind of, in a way, we go full circle to why you started your spiritual path of looking at what matters, what you have, and what is important to you. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and coming full circle, and I think it's really brilliant today because there's lots of Taurus energy, but there's lots of Aries energy as well.
Yes, and Aries moon.
Yeah, so a Mercury in Aries as well. And I did a post on my Instagram where I took a little bit of time out from social media, which I've been meaning to do for ages. I didn't delete my accounts or anything, but just took them off my phone. And like you say, went out and practice embodiment, went out and thought, well, what's it like to be a Taurus? So out in nature, experiencing things, food and friends, and just physical stuff. Because if you're in the body and being physical, you're not in the past and you're not in the future, you're just present.
Yes.
And at the moment, Taurus season, it's so fertile, everything's green, everything's, the flowers are coming out, and we miss so much. I love technology and I love learning, but I think it's an important lesson just to take time out and slow down. and see what we've got right in front of us, which again is Taurus season, isn't it? What do you value? Doesn't have to be possessions either. Do we value Mother Earth? Do we value what's right in front of us? Can we embody that? So yeah, I think Taurus season, and May has been really a really important month after Aries.
Yeah, Aries gets things started. Taurus says, oh, okay, well, what do I have from what I've just started? And then Gemini says, oh, how can I create new sparks of information
Yeah, and
surrounding
share
this?
it.
How can I do
Yeah,
more
how can I share
research?
it?
How can I do a bit of sharing it? Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
very
won't go further, but
now.
it's kind of, yes. So are there a few things that you're proud about that you've achieved, and or just things you're just generally proud about in your life right now? We've kind of touched upon finding astrology in some respects, and your spiritual journey and things that you're proud of there. But is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm proud of getting married, which probably is an obvious thing, but yeah, finding somebody, my husband, who allows me to be me without trying to clip my wings. I think, well, probably everyone can relate, but especially with Gemini moon, we're like busy, 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 want to be here, want to be there, want to be doing stuff. But yeah, that's one of my proudest moments is just, and I'm grateful as well, is to meet somebody like him, who keeps me grounded but gives me the freedom at the same time. I'm just grateful for my life right now, really. I think where I am right now, I'm really proud um, of what I've achieved so far. Starting the course at the LSA, I haven't finished it yet, but I do sometimes doubt myself and think I'm not going to be good enough. So I'm really proud of where I am so far. I also do karate, so I'm quite proud of um, doing some of my gradings and achieving that. Um, I think I'd rather use the word grateful. Actually, I think also Taurus season has really allowed me to just stop and think, wow, I've really got an amazing life. I'm really grateful for where I am right now. I'm enjoying the journey. Grateful for who I have in my life. Um, yeah, I think I can't think of. There's lots of things to be proud of, but I think they all just equal up till now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful.
What else do you want to cover? Is there any more astrology? How did I get into astrology?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that yet, did we? Oh, how did you?
Well, I've always loved the star signs or sun signs. Always read them when I was a kid. Um, always liked crystals as a kid as well. And I've always followed it. And then I remember bugging my mum all the time. What time was I born? What time was I born? So eventually I wrote it down. She bought me a book on, I think it was the Judy Hall Zodiac Crystals. I don't know why I didn't do it before now. I don't know why I didn't start studying it. I think probably because I thought it was going to be too hard because it's very complex. But I think, starting the Reiki and doing the crystals, I just think it was a natural progression. And I remember having my cards read by somebody a few years ago, and she said, you'll learn three things and then you'll kind of incorporate them all together. And I think astrology is that third thing now that I'm learning. It relates to everything else. So I did go to college and do interpersonal skills level 1. and perhaps I will carry on down the counselling route. But I think I wanted to stick to something that was a little bit more spiritual, that I could use with everything else that I'd learned. I didn't want it to be a separate thing.
Yeah.
And as we're learning in the LSA, um, there is a heavy emphasis on psychological growth and that in astrology, if you want to go down that path. But yeah, again, I'm grateful for what I've done in the past, because it's led up to this moment now of doing astrology, which I just love. Can't tell you how much I love it.
I know, it's beautiful. I absolutely adore it as well. There's just so much that you can expand upon, but then also you can end up down a bit of a rabbit hole. But
Yes, too many rabbit holes, because there's lots of other modalities that are kind of similar, but I think the astrology for me, it is it's your own compass. There's
yes,
no right or wrong placements charts. When you start to learn astrology and you look at your birth chart and you start to understand it, you realize that stepping stones, Mary, absolutely. You realize that you're just where you're meant to be, you're just as you're meant to be. Um, and it also, well, for me anyway, again, that Gemini moon making all the connections, um, you realize that you're being guided internally, and the astrology shows you that. So again, it's always trust yourself. I think that's my biggest biggest piece of advice, is always trust yourself and your gut feelings, because
yeah.
it's always there in the chart. The chart's just confirmation. I don't know how you find it, Emily, but it amazes me that it's what you've been feeling, it's there. The chart tells you that as well.
Yes, I mean, we're born with that seed of potential, and as you say, there's that compass, which is the cross of matter surrounded by a circle of spirit, and then you have that echoed again in the glyph or the symbol for the sun, which is literally a circle with a dot. So everywhere within our chart is a seed of potential. It's the blueprint that we're born with, and we always have free will. But what was
Yeah,
coming up over the eastern horizon at the moment that we were born, our rising sign, um, gives us an inkling of what we can follow, what we can be. But the sun is us at our core, and there is so much there. But also, we're not just active beings. We also need to rest, just like the heart does between each and every beat. So that's when we've got the moon giving us that little inner nudge to say, well, this is what your personal needs are. This is where you need to eat. This is where you need to digest and nourish yourself. And actually, without adding all those three elements of the chart together, we don't truly know who a person is. We can look at a
no,
sun sign, but if we put all those three together, there's very few people in the world that have the exact same combination that we do. It can be the entire chart with the planets as they are, can be as unique as a fingerprint. And astrology has that little gift, that beauty to wake us up. And I think that it shows us more compassion for ourselves, but more compassion for others, because we can see, oh, there's a trait here that I have because of this particular placement, this planet connecting with that one, or the angle it makes. So there's the little things of sacred geometry and its patterns and its precision, and that links back to your fascination with the pyramid shape of your lapis lazuli and everything. That's like,
oh, yeah, I love sacred
yes,
geometry.
me
Sacred
too.
geometry, just yeah,
Mm.
and specifically the Merkaba.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Actually, that was a little story. I remember doing I got invited to do a crystal meditation group.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and I was sitting in this circle, I think it was once a month, and we'd use crystals to meditate with. There was music, sometimes there was a bit of a theme. Um, and I just got nothing. I'm sitting there like, and then after we've sat there for 15 minutes or whatever, and everyone would share what they got, and I'm just sitting there thinking, oh, I haven't got anything. It's just darkness. So we were using the platonic solids, funny enough, and she wasn't sure if we'd have time to use the Merkaba because it's the last one.
Mm.
Um, so when when she brought that out and we used that, bingo, that set it all off. So I think my third eye was probably open anyway, but yeah, just went on a journey. It's brilliant. So I've got lots of little Merkabas and the triangle. Yeah, I resonate with the triangle, definitely. But yeah, sacred geometry, and using them for because they're the elements as well again, aren't they? And using them to work with it, they're really powerful as well. But yeah, that was just again another moment that I was off. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to do a crystal meditation group, oh, amazing.
I do
Yeah,
draw a little bit of it myself, the seed of life and, you know, flower of life and all that.
That's it, yeah.
We've got a little comment from Mary as well. She's found astrology just before her Saturn return, over 2 years ago, and definitely knows that it is part of her path forward. So for anybody who doesn't know, a Saturn return is something that happens around the age of about 28, 29, sometimes up to 30. But it is a point where Saturn, a planet of discipline and hard work, will kind of put us back on our path. So if we're already a bit in alignment with our purpose and our work, our career, our calling, should we say, anything that feels aligned to us, we probably have a fairly easy ride. But if for any reason we're fighting against all of that and we're a bit clueless, a bit lost, Saturn often helps us get back on that path. And that's often when people come to us for readings. It's like, oh, something's a bit shaken up in my life. What does this mean? And often it's around that point in their lives. I don't know how.
When I listen,
yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Candice.
well, it's interesting because astrology's been a really great tool for me. So, luckily, my clients indulge me, and if they know their time of birth, I get all their charts. But I started listening to what they're saying, and I started listening to the stories they're telling about other people, like their kids. And I said, "Oh, how old are they?" And they're like, "Oh, they're 29." It's like, oh, you know, because they're getting married, or they're having a baby, or sometimes it is loss, but it's some big grown up event.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. There's always something poignant that happens around that age, definitely. So yeah, I'm always listening out for it. Oh, your second one, Mary. Yeah,
Wow.
we've got another one of those. So if we didn't get it right first time, hopefully
Yeah.
we'll have an easier ride the second time. I'm
I hope so.
hoping. I'm hoping I got a kick up the butt. It got me on the right path. So
Yeah,
when I'm 60.
I did get married around the time of mine. I definitely, I met my husband. I was 29 when I met my husband, and then it was, actually, it was meeting him, and then it was a year or so later that we started planning a wedding, and there was just so many little things. I thought, well, I'm either going to be single all my life, or I'll be a lesbian, or I'll be celibate. I was thinking, I know I went through all the sort of dramatic stages.
All of the extremes.
All of the extremes, because I thought, well, there doesn't appear to be anybody in this dating pool, and we ended up meeting via our website, Plenty of Fish, and it was like, oh, he's the fish for me, yay!
Well, did you say he's a Scorpio moon?
He is actually. Oh, well
Yeah, so
remembered.
there you go.
Yeah.
The watery feels.
Meeting via Plenty of Fish, and he's a Scorpio moon. I hadn't thought that before. But he's the fire in my chart that I have a lack of. So a lot of us in astrology, we look at our constitution and our combination of planets within the chart, whether they fall mostly in the element of air, fire, earth, or water. And for me, fire is the one that I have less of in my chart. So I often say to people that my husband is my fire because he's on my descendant, he's Sagittarius, but he's got a Leo rising, but a water moon. He's got Scorpio moon, but Scorpio is ruled traditionally by Mars. So there is a tiny bit of fire within that water, the intensity of the water. So yeah, it's interesting.
Do you find the majority of your friends are fiery? What's the sign of most of your? There's a common element of most of your friends.
Actually, our close friend that we saw yesterday, he's a Virgo, and I connect really well with him. And my friend at work, she's Taurian. So I think it's a lot of Earth people I connect with, but I have a Capricorn moon. But
my descendant is in Pisces, and I'm lacking Earth and water. But yeah, most of my friends are all Pisceans, or they're all water signs. I think apart from two.
I've just
And
realised
more and more. Sorry, say that again, Emily.
Sorry. I've just realised I do have quite a few Sagittarian friends actually. I've just kind of thought about it.
Yeah, what we lack, or because I've got this thing where I think, because I haven't got any water in my chart, I've only got one planet in water, that I'm not very feeling and I'm not very compassionate. My friend said that's absolutely rubbish. So Pisces is on my descendant. So I like the spiritual, arty, get lost in, and I've got Moon Neptune opposition, so that kind of ties in with that. But yeah, all of my friends are pretty much water signs. So you get what you lack somehow. And I live by the water as well, and I love being in the water, by the water. So I don't know, for you like being near fire more. I don't know how it works for you, but I definitely make up for the lack of the water element.
For me, it's humour. It's all the silly things, the loudness and everything that I think, oh, on some days I really don't want it, but on other days, if I'm stressed out or being too in my head, or wanting to kind of shut out the world a little bit, somebody with a lot of fire really cracks me out of it, and I suddenly find that, oh, actually the humor is the part that I need to get myself motivated and to feel more alive and at home in myself,
I guess. Yeah.
So yes, my husband, being like a big kid that he is, yeah, it is, yes, Mary, it's a sense of adventure. That's what I need. So yes, and we are planning a few trips and things, and eventually we would love to move to Madeira, and we're going there for our first holiday in July. So yeah. But
love holidays.
Yeah, me too. But again, most of the time it's a case of Gemini tends to like short trips. So I feel like I want to come home again after quite a few weeks. It's a case of, right, okay, I couldn't live in this particular place, but then more and more the way of the quality of life and the food, the environment in general, being around lots of flowers, not far from the sea, and everything else kind of appeals in what he was saying about Madeira. So going there, I'm intrigued to see whether that actually does kind of tick the boxes as much as I think it would. So
yeah. And did you check it on the Astrologer?
Yes, it makes so there is this thing in astrology, locational astrology or astrocartography, both terms that you can use for it. But yes, I did look on my astro map, but I couldn't find an awful lot on there to suggest much about Madeira itself. But I looked at the relocated chart, and Madeira made me more fiery and assertive, and that felt quite aligned actually, because if that's what's
definitely
lower in my chart, that seems quite apt that would make me feel more alive, shall we say. So yeah,
watch this space then and see if it happens. That's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody on my channel a while back, rest her soul, bless her, Denise. She's a psychic, so she was a psychic. Unfortunately, she fairly recently passed away, which was quite sudden experience for her family, but being somebody with a lot of Scorpio in her chart, and her good friend who was in business with her, also very Scorpionic, it was something that although we say yes, she's passed away, she's passed to a new realm or state of being, shall we say, because for her, she was always dabbling in the occult, the darker side of things, but also helping, being that channel to speak to people that came through. She was saying that actually, Emily, it's not going to be 5 years that you move, it will be 3. I was thinking, well, shit, there might be something in that. So if it was November, where we were saying that actually it's our 5-year plan, we will see whether she was right or not.
I'm getting chills, so I think I think she's right. Yeah, watch this space.
Well, Denise, cheers to you. But we've been going here for quite some time. Oh, we've got a comment from Yasmina. I'm just going to see what she says. Oh, astrology found her when she was 11 or so at her Jupiter return. I think, if I remember rightly, Jupiter returns every 12 years. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But yes, Jupiter's that planet that's all larger than life. It does actually rule Sagittarius. It does talk a lot about growth. Although Saturn's like the growth in the sense of our bones, Jupiter, I think I see that more as sort of spiritual, philosophical growth and adventure and larger perspective on life. So yeah, that's quite interesting that astrology found you at that point, Yasmina.
And then I think at that age you're at secondary school, aren't you? So you're just starting to find out what you're into. So I remember, liking the sun signs and liking crystals, and probably around 11 or 12, come to think of it. So when you're first starting to find your feet and find out what you're into. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that one before. I'll have to look at when my first Jupiter returns were and see then the next ones. And what am I, 38 this month? Something like that. When you get
to... Age is just a number.
I know. But when you get to 30, you're just like, oh, let's stop here. Because it's just like every number past then, it's like, oh, we don't need to know anymore. As you say, it's just a number, isn't it?
It is indeed. Geminis, I always say that we're the eternal Peter Pans.
Always remaining young. Oh, a song just came through. Young at Heart. Yes, I can't remember who sang that, but
yeah, forever curious. I think if you're forever curious, you'll stay young anyway. Definitely.
Yeah. I like it. Thank you, Mary. Just another astrological number.
It's all connected, Mary. It's all connected.
So I was going to ask you about any sort of goals and things you have for the future, and how you stay consistent with them, manifest them, should we say?
I want to get my astrology diploma. So you get a certificate when you do the course. But I've seen, not in person, but I've seen the beautiful LSA big diplomas with a nice big gold thing, and it's like, I want that. I want to do this. So being Aries and Gemini, it can be tricky for me to stay consistent because I'm always looking for something new and exciting. But again, because I've found my tribe, I think when we've got lots of little groups going on, I think we can all hold each other accountable. And what I found, it's funny, I'm only just realising this stuff now at 43, so I'm almost at my Uranus opposition. is using my Virgo ascendant to do stuff daily. So I stay consistent and I'm manifesting what I want by doing the stuff that I love daily, but little increments, because I can tend to be a bit all or nothing. But I try and do some astrology study every day. I try and do a little bit of yoga daily. So for me, Virgo rules the sixth house of your daily activities and stuff. It's doing a little bit, but often doing it daily. And I'm trying to enjoy the journey rather than just see the end goal.
Yes.
And I know that once I do the assignments and get the diploma, it'll just be carrying on studying, but not diverting off. It will all be adding on to what I'm doing. So yeah, I want this diploma. And I know all of you lovely guys will all help each other and keep each other focused and hold each other accountable. Yeah, so that's what I want. That's what I'm going for.
Well, hello, Reese. What time is it in Australia? So if we're 4 o'clock now.
Hello, Reese.
Well, lovely to see
We're
you.
International, Emily.
I know.
I love it.
Is there anything else that... Oh, 11:06 p.m. Okay.
Oh, it's just late.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. It was really kind.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope if there's anything that you missed about sort of crystals and spirituality and things from the beginning, feel free. The recording's going to be there on the interviews playlist, just on my channel generally, or under the lives tab if you want to go back and look at anything. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Emily. Emily, it's my first time, so I've really enjoyed it, and I feel really honoured that you invited me on. So thank you. It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you, Candice. Is there anything else that you would like to add, and where people can find you, etc.?
So, best piece of advice is just trust yourself. Your intuition's always right. You can find me on Facebook at Candice Morris Healing, or on Instagram, I am Candice Morris _.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, I'm going to wrap up here then. Candice, you're welcome to stay with me in the studio for a little bit after if you want to. But for everybody else, thank you for joining us now or on the replay. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.